get off to an easy start. Give me your name, age, occupation.
My name is Maria Gonzalez, and I am 47 years old, and I'm a doctor of physical therapy and a parent coach.
Oh, fantastic. A parent coach, is that what you said?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, so define this for me. Are you a coach of parents?
I coach parents. I coach parents how to be better versions of themselves.
That's so interesting. How long have you been doing that for?
That's been a year only.
A year?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I might need to recruit your advice. I'm a parent of a 4-year-old.
Oh, you are?
Yeah, so.
Boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay, I got 3 of them.
Wow.
I have lots of advice for you.
So when did this, I wouldn't say pivot because it's an addition, but like when did this come around for you?
So I actually stepped away from physical therapy to become a mom.
Oh, wow.
To pursue momhood.
Mm-hmm.
And I did that and it was amazing.
Mm-hmm.
But then I wanted something else. And so I actually sought out this occupational therapist who had all kinds of tools and tricks to really get to know like who you are and how to understand your emotions and how to understand your nervous system. Like what makes you tick, what sets you off, how to calm yourself when you are set off, and how to build deeper bonds with your kids, because you're learning that about the kids too, and about your partner and coworkers and all that stuff. And so the goal was to learn it for myself first, to help me sort of engage and be better connected to the kids and to my husband. But then I just was so in love with it, and she brought me on as one of her coaches.
So now you have a third slash to incorporate into your job, which is survivor player.
That's right.
How did this end up happening? What has led you in front of me today?
So I applied to Survivor when I was 20-something.
Wow.
Yes.
I mean, that's...
One time.
I mean, that's pretty much as old as the show.
I was...
Interesting.
Yeah. Wait, does that mean you know how old I am?
No, I mean, I won't tell, okay? This is a show that's full of secrets.
That's right.
That's between you and I. So was it something that you were, like, watching from the beginning, or?
Yeah, so I used to watch a long time ago, and I would say my late 20s, and I was in my prime physically, and I was, a salsa dancer, and I just had, like, so much ego and selfishness and sort of self-centeredness, and I was like, this is perfect for me,
Interesting.
And I didn't get like not even like a hello back. And then life got in the way. Then I went on to grad school and had a family, and then during the pandemic, like most people, I started watching again, and I was like, shit, like this is my time. Like right now is my time.
Interesting. So obviously, since you've been a fan since the beginning, give me one winner and one non-winner that you identify with the most.
Okay. They are both strong-ass women.
Okay.
So Natalie Anderson is like amazing person to me to emulate, and Stephanie LaGrossa, who never quite won. There are so many times in my life where I've been sort of alone, right? Alone, and like had to dig deep for inner strength. And so I really sort of admire them and admire how they play the game as just strong, badass women.
I was about to ask, so do you feel like that life experience of like being by yourself, pulling yourself up and being able to climb that ladder, is that something you feel is directly applicable to how you're going to play?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I think that, number one, there'll be probably like a massive target on my back because I'm the old person.
You think so?
Probably. Although, I've hid my grays before I came out here, so maybe they won't know.
But the good news is that if the more longer you last, the
I know.
more the grays come out. So
they're gonna
double-edged sword.
They're gonna show. I might try to lie about it, but then really, like after like a couple weeks, they're gonna show. But yeah, no, I mean, I think that there have been many times in my life where I've had to pull from inner strength. I've birthed all 3 kids at home without any medication. So natural childbirth. I've run 3 marathons.
Yeah.
I even nursed one of my kids right after I crossed the finish line of a marathon.
Are you talking like you crossed the finish line, like, hand me the baby?
I'm not even joking. My husband ran the baby to me, and I lifted up my sweaty sports bra and I nursed him after a marathon. So like being alone and being sort of forced to dig deep.
Yeah.
Not a problem.
That's incredible. What would you say is your biggest superpower in life? Is it that individuality?
It's the individuality. It's the determination. I'm like a horse with blinders on. Like if someone tells me I don't think you can do this, or like they kind of give you that look like, I'm like, watch me.
Yeah. Well, I guess the other side of that though is like if you have blinders on, that's tough in a game where you're trying to perceive other people around her. Do you expect those blinders to carry over as well? I
guess I meant blinders by like, if I put my mind to something, it's going to happen.
Yeah.
So not blinders like I don't have any peripheral vision.
Exactly. Well, I guess to that point, what would you say is your biggest kryptonite in your life?
I would say control.
As in lack thereof?
lack thereof is a big problem for me.
Interesting.
Yes.
Okay.
So, which is also part of why I'm applying, right? Because the times in my life where I haven't had control have been the times where I've grown the most as a person.
Yeah.
And so putting myself out there again in a situation where I will not have control, like that's another opportunity for me to see who I'm made of, what I'm made of.
That coaching that you talk about, is this something that you want to bring to your tribe in like an inspirational quality? I mean, I know it's a little bit apples and oranges between that and like a sports coach, but I would imagine in an environment where so many people are run down, bottom of the barrel, do you want to be that person to be like, come on, we'll be able to push through this.
Yeah.
We're stronger than the worst thing we've been through?
Yeah, definitely. It'll be twofold. It'll be, using those skills to sort of connect to people and being vulnerable myself and building trust, but I can also use it against people, right? Like if I can tell that somebody's spiraling, I can tell that somebody's starting to be triggered by something. If they're in my alliance, sure as hell I'm going to help them out. If they're not, I might just sit back and watch.
So I had read something in your bio about how you moved to Costa Rica to teach at this World Teach, I believe, right, as an English teacher. How did this come about? Because talk about making a big move. This is a literal big move.
Yeah, once again, another time where I was by myself, right? So I had, I knew I wanted to go to grad school, but I wasn't ready to go yet. I needed sort of that like bridge year, whatever that year is, where gap year. And so, I just wanted to go somewhere tropical, and I wanted to learn Spanish. And so I lived with a family. I learned Spanish in 4 months. I was fluent in 4 months. Never spoke Spanish beforehand. And, it was a lot of growing pains. It was painful and uncomfortable and very much in the wilderness and foraging for food and farming, and just very different from like my comfortable life.
Right.
So and it was one of the biggest growth experiences of my life.
Interesting. Did you learn anything like in particular? Is this where you unlocked a life lesson about yourself that you carry forward to this day?
I think that might be one of the times. That might have been like the first life lesson. I think after the loss of my father was probably my first life lesson.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Thank you. Of just understanding that like it's important to be who I am, and I don't need to fit in, and I don't need to, being different is actually super awesome.
Yeah.
But I would say that living in Costa Rica was probably my first challenge of, who I am.
You talk about being different. How do you think people are going to perceive you out here?
That's a really good question. Hopefully they'll perceive me well. I think I make connections with people pretty easily. I find myself to be funny, but maybe I'm the only one who's laughing at my own jokes.
That's a famous last words. I think I'm
pretty funny. As they say, she's so annoying. I think people will perceive me to be easy to get along with, easy to work with, strong.
Yeah. I mean, to your point, you're talking about your age. Do you feel like you get along with people that might be younger than you? Suffice it to say, there's a good assumption that people younger than you will be out here.
Yeah, and that's, I work with people younger than me. Right? And so like I'm used to talking to people younger than me, interacting with people younger than me. I have a 5-year-old kid, so like, I'm it's not like I'm an empty nester or anything. Like I've got young children.
So what are you looking for in an alliance partner? You're talking about wanting to provide that support, but are you looking for any specific qualities in a ride or die, a number one? Yeah,
I want like the Monicas to my Rachel. Like, I want, and we might bring Phoebe too.
Look for the person with the frizziest hair out here.
Well, that's me. This has got to be the second frizziest hair. Honestly, I'm looking for my ride or die. I'm looking for somebody that wants to play the game with me, like as a couple.
Yeah.
And play hard. Like I don't want to be afraid to, and I don't want that person to be afraid. Like I want us to like look at each other and be like, yeah, like we're gonna do this.
So you're saying Monica to Rachel, is it just only in a friend's capacity, or are you looking for like those specific qualities? You talk about like control.
No, I'm just more like sort of like 2 peas in a pod.
And now, is that going to be specific to a woman to that point?
Not necessarily.
Okay.
No, not necessarily. But all you hear about is like Wendell and Dom and Jesse and Cody, and like, were there ever, other than the Black Widow Brigade, like maybe we'll be 2.0, but like there was never a pair of women that I can think of, and I don't know all the trivia that a lot of people know, but like it'd be super cool to have Maria and someone else.
Now, to that point, I mean, you talk about like your Jesse Cody's. We even saw this last season with like Jam and Carolyn to a certain extent. is this someone that you would always want to intend to take to the end, or do you have it in your capacity to say, this person's getting way too powerful, I'm sorry we locked eyes on that first day, but it's time this friendship ends?
Yeah, and I say that sitting here, like, no
of
problem,
course.
right? Yeah, surely I could do that. But really, at the end of the day, like, I told my children, Mommy's gonna lie, cheat, and steal, and they're like, it's okay, Mommy, you can do it. So yeah, I don't have any problem when it's time, and I'll know.
You get forgiveness from your kids. You hope you get forgiveness from like the consenting adults that are also
I
here.
do. And I think there's a way to sort of do it with grace, and there's a way to do it in a mean way. And I hope to be able to do it with grace and someone who congratulates. That was a really good move, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, talking about possible alliance members, obviously I imagine you've been walking around, you've been looking at these people, you obviously haven't been talking. I'm sure you have some faces in mind of people. So let's start on the good side. Look at this possible ride or die. Is there anyone in particular that you're eyeballing, like, if we hit the beach on the same day, best case scenario?
I have a couple, actually. There's one. Do you want me to?
Of course. No, please describe.
Okay. There's a guy. He's got a beard, scruffy beard, maybe late 20s, early 30s, like most people out here. I don't know. I get a good vibe from him. He definitely makes good eye contact. He has a very animated face. I like him. There's another woman she's taller than I am, braids, she's got a nose ring, and she looks super strong. And I'm like, I admire strength in a woman. And so I feel like if she were on my tribe, like, I would go for her first. Then there are a couple other women that I have noticed that, you know, it's the ones that make eye contact with you. It's the ones that like look like they're engaged.
Yeah.
Those are the ones that, you know, I'd like to get to know.
Now, let's go to the other side of the spectrum. Who's given up some not so good vibes? Is there anyone who, if you're on a tribe with, you're saying like, all right, well, I could act upon something that I was making eyes with the Ponderosa or lack thereof?
I would say that in general, the ones that are not making eye contact.
Okay.
And there are some that just aren't.
Say, what proportion are not making eyes with you?
I would say there are 2 to 3 that just don't make eye contact. I'm like, what are we here doing? Like, we should be sort of sending each other signals, you know, with our eyes.
Yeah, that completely makes sense. What is an important decision that you feel like you made in your life? And what was the thinking behind that? Because obviously Survivor, especially nowadays, is full of decisions. Do you have like a process that you typically run through? Absolutely.
So I was living in New York City. Well, before that, I was living in Los Angeles, and I hated the East Coast. I'm like, I never in my life would I ever live in New York City. Suddenly, I'm like, I needed to move to New York. My mom was like, what are you doing? I thought you didn't like. I'm like, I need to be in New York. So I landed a gig at the Lion King on Broadway. I worked as a physical therapist for the show.
I mean, from what I hear about that stage, like, that was...
Yeah, it was necessary.
You were in demand.
In demand. So my year contract was up, and my boss at the time said, it's time for you to go onto a different show. We'd like to send you on tour with Wicked. And I'm like, no, there's something for me here. Like, intuitively, there's something I need to do here that I haven't found yet. And she said, okay. And I don't know, maybe a month later, I met my husband.
Wow.
So intuition has always been, and if I listen to it, I really listen to it, it's pretty clear.
So to that point, decisions throughout Survivor history, do you recall a moment watching the show where someone does something and you are like jumping up and down, yelling at the screen like, no, don't do this. Why aren't you acknowledging this elephant in the room?
Oh gosh, let me think. Where someone didn't do something that they should have done?
Or they did something that they shouldn't have done. You know, the Eric Reichenbach giving away immunity.
Oh
all
God,
that type of
yeah.
stuff.
I mean, yeah, that was like ridiculous. That was, I mean, it was awesome as a viewer and as of somebody who loves the strength of women.
Yeah.
Like, that was a super awesome move.
Talk to me about advantages here, because listen, they are part of the lifeblood of the new era. We have seen the upsides and downsides to using them. Do you have any sort of like philosophy on advantages coming into this?
Find them.
Find them?
That would be my first philosophy,
so
find them.
I mean, what happens if you find them? Are you sharing it with somebody? Are you keeping it to yourself?
I am sure everyone says I'm keeping it to myself.
Right.
I really, really want to keep it to myself. I do have a hard time when I get really excited. I do like to share. So it's going to be a challenge for me to keep it to myself.
Interesting. Yeah, because I would imagine it's something that helps engender trust. And yeah, like you said, it's like exciting news that I want to share.
Except for that first one, that first journey, when like everybody knows you went out and you got something, right? I think that first one might be more important to share, just because I think you can actually bring distrust if
Yeah.
you lie about it or you don't, say what it is.
That's perfectly serendipitous because I actually wanted to bring this up. Let's say, first few days of the game, a boat pulls up to your tribe and someone says, like, okay, someone has to go on a journey.
Yeah.
Are you going? Are you trying to, like, push somebody under the bus? Are you pushing your closest ally to go? What's your tactic for that?
Oh, I'm going.
You're going?
I'm going.
Are
yeah.
you, like, Lauren-style rigging the rock draw?
I really like that. Yeah. Yeah. Like,
well, now you realize, though, that everyone else has seen it as well, so nobody's going to want to draw rocks.
Exactly. We'll do sticks or leaves or something else.
Draw leaves.
We'll draw leaves. Which one's the prettiest leaf?
Exactly.
I got it.
Yeah, so when that happens, let's say if you get an advantage, like, do you have a tactic for coming back? Because to your point, all eyes are going to be on you.
Yeah.
And even if you tell a truthful story, everyone's going to look at you side-eyed.
Well, I mean, you saw Jamie. She was being honest, and nobody believed her.
Right.
So, in reality, if I have something to show, I would show it.
Yeah.
Just the first time.
Just the first time.
Yeah.
Can I ask you about, so you were Miss February in a salsa vixen calendar. I never knew those words could exist in the same sentence together, and here we are. I need to know this story.
Oh my gosh. I was super deep into salsa dancing. I mean, it's what got me through grad school. It was how I kept practicing my Spanish, and it was just a hobby. Like, I would study really late, and then I'd have 2 Red Bulls, and then go out at 10 p.m., come back and have cups of coffee and go to grad school the next day. I got really, really into it, and then, I don't know, they just put together a calendar, and they asked me to be Miss February.
Is this something you'd like to replicate?
No.
I was going to say,
that ship has sailed.
Well, I don't know how entrenched you are in the community. There is a Zaddy calendar from Bryce Isaiah.
Oh, is there?
You could jockey for Miss February again.
Listen.
Bryce, if you're listening.
Yeah. If there's a one-piece swimsuit calendar, I'll do it. I think my 2-piece days are over.
Does that translate from, like, a dexterity perspective, in your opinion? Like, do you feel like you're fairly well balanced, both in skill set and, like, an actual balance itself?
Dexterity meaning?
Like, challenge-wise, holding things above your head, standing on a balance beam.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think that I've been practicing puzzles like crazy. I think I have really good balance. I think it's been a while since I've danced salsa, but I'm used to dancing 3-inch heels. And so there was definitely an element of strength that grows in your feet.
Yeah.
So I do hope to be pretty good at the balance stuff and holding stuff up.
Yeah, talk to me about your preparation, because obviously we saw how much it can come into play. I mean, what exactly was, and how long was your preparation?
So my preparation, I've been working out since August.
Okay.
Actually, I applied, and I'm like, I'm going to be on the show, even though I didn't know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm like, I know I'm going to be on.
Yeah.
So, like, I started training 3 days a week. I wake up at 5 in the morning, and I go with a trainer and work out just to get some baby weight off and COVID weight, and just to build up strength. And then I've done an outdoor wilderness 2-day survival school of learning how to make fire and all the sort of important things.
Mm-hmm.
How to use a knife, how to if you don't have a knife, how do you use a wedge, and and then puzzles. Like, I've gotten a ton of puzzles. I've been working on puzzles, and every time I saw a puzzle on this last season, okay, they're not going to use that one again, you can put that one away.
You
never know, but I'm studying the ones that they didn't use. Now, I don't know what they did in 45, right? But like, I'm studying the ones that, like, they didn't use. I'm like, oh man, I'd be really good at this one.
Interesting. Give me, perfect. What is your hottest Survivor take? Could be about a person, could be about a show, a season, could be about the show in general.
I'm gonna, like, date myself, but, like, what does hot take mean exactly?
Oh no, of course. So hot take is an opinion that some would say is more controversial.
Ooh. Oh gosh. I don't even know. I can't think of a hot take. Of, like, a contestant that maybe people loved
could be like a season that you like, could be something in the game that you're not a fan of that you think other people might be.
I don't know.
Well, what do you think of the new era in general?
I love it. I love it. I love it. I mean, I also am, like, an old school lover at heart, because that's where I started watching. But I do love the new era in that there's a lot of strategy involved. We play a game at home called Mafia. We've been playing it for like 20 plus years. With
you've been playing Mafia for
We've
20
been
plus
playing
years.
a long time. And so there's a lot of strategy that happens sometimes just with your eyes, right?
Yeah.
And so I do like a lot of the gameplay.
Is any of that going to be applicable to the island? Because I'm thinking about like planning to kill someone in Mafia, very much like planning a blindside in front of somebody, trying to lie about who you are, what you have. That comes down to advantages.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I want an accomplice. Like I want somebody with me that we can just lock eyes and be like, oh yeah, like this is what's about to happen.
Last thing I want to ask, if you could bring a celebrity or a fictional character out as a loved one's visit on the island, who would it be and why?
Oh gosh. A celebrity or who?
A fictional character. You don't need to stick to the realms of reality for this one.
I mean, I love Celeste Barber.
Okay.
She's an Australian comedian. She's just funny. Like she's just super funny, and I love to laugh. And I think that sometimes on the island, maybe things get sad and things get lonely, and just somebody to have to laugh with, make me laugh.
I was gonna say like, oh, you don't need the emotional support, but I think like laughter is the best medicine. Right?
Absolutely. Yeah, it raises your vibration.
Amazing. Well, that's all I have.
All right.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is so great. How are you feeling right now?
I'm so excited.
Yeah,
I
would imagine.
Super
I mean,
excited.
you've been training for this since August, so like, it's becoming a reality.
Yeah.
Very, very soon. Well, I wish you the best of luck.
Thank you.
It was so great getting to meet you, and good luck with everything else you have going on and everything out there as well.
Thank you so much.
Of course.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
And finally, like talk to you in person.
I know. It's an absolute pleasure to meet you.
Likewise.